Hey guys, to help run the forums, host the website, and travel, we've introduced a universal service fee for in-depth coverage, including this video. My goal is to be unbiased and transparent. It's a privilege to serve you. This is not an endorsement. Let's get into it. Hey guys, it's sort of the evening time now. The light's going down a little bit. Perfect opportunity to review the new E-Lux Monaco. In part because they have these beautiful reflective tires and they really stand out as the light starts to go down. Also has an integrated blaze light headlight with like an alloy casing. I really like this. It reminds me of the Supernova like E3 e-bike V6S. It's just, that's a more expensive light, I'm sure. This bike is $1995 MSRP. It also has a Lineo by Spaninga rear light. And the really cool thing about that brake light is that when you pull either one of these brake levers, they have motor inhibitors built in that cut power to the motor and everything, but they also activate the rear light even if the lights haven't been turned on. So it's a fancy setup in that way, and safe. And you can see here, this one's like a metallic, dark, kind of a charcoal gray, and then we have a metallic white step through right here too, and this one just really gives you a nice visual footprint from the side. It's kind of like a his and hers setup maybe. It sounds like they used to make the step through in black and white, but maybe now they're just moving towards like only white. And apparently, even though this one has 28-inch wheels, they're moving to 26-inch on the step through because that'll bring the frame just a little bit closer to the ground, maybe make it even more accessible. So I have measured the stats for both of these frames. They are different sizes. So this is like a 19 and then like 17 and a half right here. I've got the standover height, but just imagine that's going to be maybe even an inch lower or something. I can't comment on exactly what those tires will be like, but these ones are 700 by 38C. It's like, 28 inches by an inch and a half. Pretty good stuff. It's kind of a Kenda tire. I didn't see any puncture resistant like labeling, but just the fact that they have those reflective sidewall stripes and then the thicker spokes, front and rear spoked into this nice Bafang 500 to 750 watt internally geared hub motor. Just a really good setup. Especially for kind of a value price bike that has a trigger throttle in addition to cadence sensing pedal assist. And the cadence sensor, it's one of the nicer ones. So we can see here at the bottom bracket, just tucked in right there, that's the cadence sensor, and it's sealed off. So it's not like the old ones that had the magnets that would get bumped out of place occasionally or caked with mud. This one's, it's all internalized. Really nice. And we have this alloy chainring guard. So if you're pedaling and you've got a skirt on or maybe pants or something like that that might touch that chain, this will keep them separated a little bit. And it's got these nice like angled cuts. It's aluminum alloy. The chain ring is steel, so it's a little bit stronger. 48 teeth on that. And then if we jump back here, this is a Shimano Altus cluster. Pretty good spread right there. And you can see the derailleur cable right here, and then the motor power cable. We've got a quick disconnect down here. Very standard. I see this on a lot of bikes that are set up with a rear hub motor. The cool thing is the black casing matches the black spokes, the black rims, really clean, and then up here, the black crank arms. I love these VP pedals. They're a little bit bigger, give you excellent traction with those set pins, and maybe just a little bit more surface area than some of the other bikes where it's like a smaller, cage style pedal. This is an upgrade, especially, for me and my buddy Sam over here. How's it going, bud?
Good.
These, we just pulled them out of your shop a moment ago, and what size shoes do you wear?
I'm a 13.
13. Oh! So, this is what I'm talking about. And we started off, and I'm focused with, this review. I'm a little bit more focused on the high step version here. We're both guys, and in some ways it's nice. There's the difference in like handling and frame stiffness when you go to a triangle versus the step through. So that one might have a bit more frame flex, but I didn't feel much. I mean, how did it ride to you?
No, they both feel really nice, and this is one of the bikes I can rip down the Santa Ana River Trail, cruise down the Santa Ana River Trail, and the bike just feels real solid, real quiet. And with a thinner tire, the taller, thinner tire, it's not as much effort you're going to be putting into the pedal stroke as you get. The 48 volt 500 watts is going to give you plenty of power.
Yeah, these are really efficient, right? So they're a higher PSI rating, pressure per square inch. Is that what that stands for?
I believe so.
Pressure
yes.
per square. Yeah. So I've recorded that back at the site too, in case sometimes it's it's like you ride the bike for a while and it gets kind of rubbed off. Or these ones, because the stripe is painted on, yeah, I think it's 50 to 85 PSI. We can see it now because it's brand new, but you know, my goal is to try to help empower you guys to keep these bikes running. The rear tire on this bike, we actually noticed was a little bit low, and when you come into contact with like a curb, and maybe you're riding up the curb, that can push in and it can bump up against the rim here, and it can pinch the inner tube and cause a flat. So make sure you keep that PSI between the recommended rating there, in part for efficiency and then also to avoid flat tires. But look at this, because it's a wider diameter, you get a lower attack angle, and it just spans right over cracks and bumps and imperfections in the road. And that's really nice, especially because this is like an all aluminum frame and a rigid, kind of a bladed fork up here, so you don't have a suspension. Instead, you've got this nice kind of vintage looking sprung saddle. I believe that's from Velo. Then you've got these, I would call this like a high rise, and then it's swept back aluminum alloy bar, adjustable angle stem, and even like a riser on that stem, so it's bringing it up. I think that's one of the options. I was looking at their website and it's like, well, there's the step through, there's the high step, and then there's the different stem. But they do come stock with this rear rack here, and this is rated at 18 kilograms. A lot of times I'll see these up to 25 kilograms, so this is a little lower, about 40 pounds versus 55. It does come with this awesome bungee cord, so it's kind of a triple bungee. We use that to carry the charger over with us, and then it's got a spring latch as well. So it comes kind of set up for hauling little things, but standard gauge tubing, so you could hang panniers down the side, and if you didn't have this bungee in there, you could use your own bungee, or you could, you know, a lot of times panniers have like a little hook at the bottom you can connect right there, and that's where the light's mounted, so it's got plenty of space. And even the way that the rack is positioned, see how it's a little bit further back and you don't have like ugly silver connector point here. It's just mounted to that alloy fender. And these fenders, they don't rattle, they're really solid, they're very nice. Like, this is definitely an upgrade, paint matched. It's just, you know, I see a lot of cheaper bikes with like plastic fenders, and sure, you can bump them and they kind of spring back into place, whereas this could get bent and scratched. However, it's not going to rust because it's not steel, and it's not going to like rattle around a lot like plastic. And then because the rack is also paint matched and it connects to the fender, you know, it gives you the option to have that integrated light. So both of the lights running off that battery pack. The battery pack set into the frame. Weight is low, it's centered. This bike looks really beautiful, and Sam was pointing out that it's got this like kind of a stripe model. To me, this is kind of like a Cadillac or something, like a beautiful, maybe there's a better analogy here, but it's kind of like a Sunday, like...
I would say it's the attention to detail, and being from SoCal, I think it's kind of like a surfboard. You know, they got the pinstriping like you'd have on a surfboard down the sides here.
Yeah, that's an excellent analogy, Sam. I love that. And it's not interrupted by clutter, because all the cables up here, they've got this nice mesh like wrap going on, and then they're internally routed through the main tube right there. So yeah, there's a little bit extra up here. Most e-bikes have that, and then it disappears right into the frame. I love that. I love the position of the kickstand. See how it's really far out of the way. It doesn't collide with the pedals when you're walking this out of your garage. It's a beautiful bike. And then they've got bottle cage bosses, something I really care about. Even if you don't have a drink here, you could have a folding lock or a mini pump or something like that. Just a lot of bikes skip that, e-bikes in particular, and then you have to carry a trunk bag, you know, or panniers or something. Then it's nice to just have a little accessory with you at all times. This does have mechanical disc brakes. That's one of the price compromises, and 160 millimeter rotors front and rear, and also no quick release at the front, which isn't so bad if you're going around town because you don't want someone to kind of tamper with it at the bike rack. It does have a quick release seat post collar, so that's one area where I would just, you know, keep an eye on it and maybe use a seat lock or something like that, a cable lock. So back to the disc brakes. Mechanical means that these brake levers are going to require a little bit more hand strength and effort, especially the right one, because it has to go all the way back here to activate. It's not hydraulic. These do stretch over time a little bit, but again, they have the motor inhibitors, and there's even a little flick bell in there. I love that thing. It's just, and rubberized edges. You might not be able to see it right now, but padded grips, the bigger saddle with those like buttons on it. It's nice, and you know, very upright, comfortable body position on this thing. The battery, again, 48 volts, 10.5 amp hours. It's definitely above average in terms of capacity. The charger, I would call very average, though. You know, it's like 1.5 pounds, 2 amps. That's exactly what I see with a lot of value-priced electric bikes, and it's fine. It'll get the job done. It's light enough to put it in a little trunk bag and carry it along with you. And I noticed that the head tube here, it's actually tapered. It's kind of interesting, because if you wanted to replace this with the suspension fork, maybe you could. I guess you'd want one that had the little bosses for attaching the fender, and it might be tricky to find one that fits this bike perfectly. So I guess the other place you could improve comfort is you could swap out that seat post. I believe it's 31.6 millimeter diameter. You can get like a Thudbuster or a Suntour NCX or something. That you guys carry those, right?
Yeah, and the E-Lux actually, that's an upgrade you can do from them as well with the NCX seat post.
Is that something you do a lot, Sam, or what do you think?
We do. You have to do that for the customer. Again, those first impressions are important, and for certain people, they want to have this is a great, smooth, powerful, upright riding position, though, so it's individual. Some people, there's a lot of people that gravitate toward that. Yeah, definitely.
And the springs on the saddle, they do a lot already, so it's not like you're completely left out. I've got the keys in my pocket here, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to take the battery off, and I think I'm going to do the white one, just because, you know what, the keys are, I have to do the black one because those are the keys I have. So I twist it a little bit. It is spring loaded and it does fold, but you don't have to leave these keys in. Go ahead, Sam. It just comes straight up, and you'll notice he bumped it on that top tube a little bit. It's a plastic casing, so be careful because it could kind of chip over time. It's got a little charge level indicator built right in, 5.5 pounds, not too bad. So you could take this thing inside and, avoid extreme heat or extreme cold, and top it off every month or two if you haven't gone for a ride. That's really how you take care of these batteries. Tempting just to leave it on the frame. You do not have to take it off to charge it. Nice and satisfying click there once it connects to the frame. And then the charging port, it's way up high, so you don't have to worry about getting it tangled up with the pedals or the crank arms. So it's just, everything's really well done on this bike. I actually really like it. I sort of overlooked it at first when we came into your shop, because it's just like, okay, bicycle.
They debuted it at our open house last August, and it wasn't ready for a review yet. I wanted to review it that day at the open house, but Jerry said wait, and I think they did a really good job with this bike. Again, I've put in some miles on it, and it would be a great daily commuter or even a cruiser.
Yeah.
Maybe the more of the baby boomers.
Yeah.
Like something like
the
this.
thing about this bike that's neat is E-Lux is a Southern California brand. They've been around for several years. They offer like a year-long warranty, and they carry it at shops. So you can come in and test ride it at some places like Sam's. Let's get up to the display. I think this is Das Kit, just based on the button pad. I can't say for sure, but I've seen them on other bikes, like from Magnum. If I press the power button, it comes to life pretty quickly, and it's backlit for a second, and then that goes off. Okay, if you want to get the backlight again, you have to tap the power button. Beautiful. And then look at that, the headlight came on. So you can already start to see that, and then the rear light. But I want to demonstrate what we were talking about before. Turn the light off. Now check this out. When I pull the brake levers, look at that. Very cool. That's a nice safety upgrade, and very few e-bikes have that today, at least in America. So I like that. Coming back to the display, we've got sort of the battery management system up top. It shows you the voltage, 50.2 volts, and then there's a 5-tick battery infographic. So those are 20% increments. Try not to let it get too far below 1 tick, because that starts to stress the cells. There's a power ramp over there, and if I juice the throttle, you can see well, I was expecting it to go, but I guess it's not going up because, there we go. I just let the rear wheel skid a little bit, and then it actually ramped up power. We've got the light icon, speed in miles per hour. Pedal assist, we're in 0, so this is just like scooter mode, kind of, trigger throttle only. Of course, you can arrow up with the plus button over here to 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. It can get pretty zippy at those higher levels, because again, this is a 500 to 750 watt motor. It's pretty powerful. However, with the 28-inch wheels, you're not getting quite as much mechanical advantage. There's an interesting mix of things going on here. And then again, the weight of the bike, about 55 pounds. It's not too bad considering it has metal fenders and like a relatively high capacity battery. Over here on the display, this is really unique. It says info right now, and if we press the set button, it goes to time and then trip 1 and trip 2. So you get 2 trip meters. That's interesting. That's like an automobile or something. But beyond that, if you want to get even deeper, there is no walk mode that I was able to figure out. You hold minus, usually on bikes that gives you walk mode. This didn't have that. If you hold set though for a few seconds, gets into the menus. Okay, so you can clear the trip meters, and then you can change the top speed, the number of pedal assists, the size of the wheel. This is where you would change from miles per hour to kilometers per hour. So you just use the plus and minus to adjust these things, and then hold set again, and we exit. So that's it. We've gone through the whole thing. I want to just show you that headlight again. It's quite bright and durable is the impression I got from the casing. So it's just great fun.
Yeah, and you know what the acronym for E-Lux stands for, right, Court?
No.
Electric Luxury.
Ah, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
They've made the claim of having the most comfortable bikes on the market. So
okay.
Yeah,
not bad. And again, $1995. This is still a value price for
Absolutely.
a feature-complete electric bike. It's getting dark here, so I'm just going to hop on this thing, scoot around the parking lot, and I'll come back and maybe we'll ride together.
Sounds good.
So I'll see you in a second, Sam. I'm in the highest level of assist right now. Okay, so it's going to be pretty zippy. Just keep an eye back there. Maybe listen for the motor. Very nice. Feeling pretty good. Yeah, you definitely notice when you're on like the bigger wheels. Whoa, it's like a little bit floatier, slower turning and stuff. Hey guys. And the brakes, I'm squeezing them a little bit harder. 160 millimeter rotors versus 180 or something. It's a bit of a compromise with mechanical, but that's part of the price, part of the cost savings here a little bit. Then the upright body position. Hey Sam, will you trade me and hop on this bike since it's
sure
a little bit more your size? He's got it all set. Okay, I'm gonna be on your right side because the light's kind of, oh man, look at that headlight. Oh, look at this one, has kind of a green display. Nice to have the throttle available just anytime.
Nice relaxing cadence.
Beautiful. Okay guys, we got a little bit of light here, but it's gonna get dark real quick when we're riding. There's a chain, 48 tooth chain ring with a guard on one side. It'd be nice if it had 2 plates so it would be more of a guide, because that chain could bounce off on the inside. Minor gripe, and again, alloy here, that's a little bit tougher. It looked nice. 11 to 32 teeth in the rear. Relatively nice derailleur here, Shimano Alivio. And 9 speeds, it's great. Even the trigger shifters, I like those pretty well. But it's a cadence sensor, so there's definitely like an on-off feeling. And I guess that's why I like the throttle here, because it gives you just fine-tuned control. When you just barely push that in, you get a little bit of power. It's nice. So I'm going to ride around. Even this motor, it seems like it's a little bit quieter than some of the other Bafang motors that I've test ridden. So I'm going to start off not with pedal assist. I'm just going to ease into it with the throttle to show you how smooth it can be. And then I'll do pedaling, and you'll get to see that cadence sensor starting and stopping, but at the highest level. So the motor's going to make a little bit more noise than it might if I was in 4, 3, 2, or 1. There we go. The brakes are working pretty well. Now we're going to change some gears and do pedal assist. Probably hear the delay a little bit, but it gets the job done. And because the sensor is sealed, it just feels like a little bit more protected than some of the older sensors, so I like that. Well guys, I think we're losing light. This might be the end of our little demo, but this was a lot of fun. Nice to see these bikes back to back, the different frame setups, the different colors and everything. For the full written review, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com, including the standover height, the length, the width, everything I try to record. Again, big thanks to Electric Bicycle Center and you, Sam. Yeah, have fun out there, you guys. Ride safe. We'll see you next time.